The Mario Kart series has to be one of the best spin-offs ever, so I decided to rank the games once again. I have already ranked my top 10 Mario Kart games, however that list is no longer accurate to my thoughts and feelings, so I'm remaking the list and saying it with my chest this time around. I'll be ranking these games using 6 categories: characters/vehicles, tracks, items, controlling, battle mode, and extra. The extra category is basically anything extra that I believe should show in the ranking. Also, I apologize, but I will only be including the mainline Mario Karts due to the fact that I have not played the arcade games or home circuit. Anyways, if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing and liking the video, as well as letting me know in the comments which Mario Kart you really enjoy or view as the best. With all of that out of the way, let's dive into my list, starting with the worst of the bunch. If I recall correctly, I had Super Mario Kart at number 8 last time. I don't know if I was okay in the mind or what, because there is no world where this game is not in last place on the list. It started off the series, but it certainly got a lot better from that point onward, which is a really good thing. This game got the worst score that I would dare to give anything on a list, which is a 4.5 out of 10. Compared to the other games in the series, the best parts of this game are mediocre and simply outmatched. Anyways, for the character roster, it's okay, so a 6 sounds right. That's what I would say if we had Donkey Kong in the game, so it loses a point for a pick that is just not right. I'm sorry DK Jr., but your dad is objectively cooler. This game only has the standard kart, so that doesn't come into play with this list. When it comes to tracks, I really don't know what to say. They are all just okay, with some bad ones like Bowser's Castle 2 thrown in. They did introduce Rainbow Road however, so that saves it from rock bottom. For items, I can at least give this one a non-humiliating ranking. You have the banana, Koopa shells, star, and lightning, plus the feather, which was really cool at the time. And I'm totally not forgetting any other items in this game. So let's move on to the controlling. The controlling is not great, but it's playable, so I'll give it a 5. They did the best they could with the limitations they had. For the extra category, it gets a 3. Everything that is unique about this game was better left in it, so it tanks in that area. Super Mario Kart was a pretty good kart racing game at the time, but it hasn't held up well since, and it is just levels below any other game on this list. Stepping it up quite a bit, we have Mario Kart Super Circuit at number 9. This game came out in 2001 for the Game Boy Advance, which declares it as the first game where you can play Mario Kart on the go. Despite this game being nostalgic, I can't advance it any higher on the list. It gets a 7 out of 10. For characters and vehicles, we still only have the standard kart, but we now have DK and Wario in place of DK Jr. and Koopa Troopa. 10 characters would have obviously been nice, but at least we have Donkey Kong now. For tracks, it's pretty solid. You have some really good ones like Riverside Park, Sky Garden, and Sunset Wilds, with a pretty good version of Rainbow Road that definitely deserves a remake. You can also unlock all of the Super Mario Kart tracks as well. For items, it's an improvement over Super Mario Kart with the blue shell, triple items, and more. On the controlling side, this game does a little bit better than Super Mario Kart, but not by much as it's relatively similar. Now for extra, it's an 8 out of 10. Obviously, a portable version of Mario Kart was great at the time, plus it gets boosted by nostalgia. It also has Quick Run, which allows you to play any track without going on a full Grand Prix. There are much better portable Mario Karts nowadays, but this game did it first and we can thank it for that. I know you Tour fans are not going to like this one, but it's hard to like a game when its fanbase is toxic. Mario Kart Tour is absolutely exploding with content that is mixed up constantly for you to enjoy. However, as you can see by this ranking, this game is far from perfect. For characters and vehicles, it's hard to do better than this game. It doesn't have any of the cross-franchise characters, but it has literally everything else. Plus, it's loaded with vehicles that you can choose from. The only problem with this is how the characters and vehicles you get are obtained by luck, paying money, or spending your life completing challenges. That's why it goes down a point. For tracks, it gets an 8. This game is overflowing with tracks and has variations to each one, however they are cycled with each update, so you can't play a specific track until it's in season again, which is annoying. On top of this, the retro tracks are generally lower quality than the originals. It does have some pretty cool locations for its nitro tracks though. For items, this game has a pretty good selection, even having character exclusive items once again, and getting a frenzy when you match 3 in a row. For controlling, this game doesn't score the best. It just isn't as good as playing with a controller. And for extra, this game scores a 5 for the pay to win theme going on here. Certain vehicles and characters are required to score well, and you are incentivized to buy them, so obviously it's going to get knocked down for that. Overall, Mario Kart Tour is a great game, but it has so many flaws preventing it from being one of the better games in the series. Mario Kart 64, released in the late 90s for the Nintendo 64, makes the number 7 spot. This was the second Mario Kart to come out, and it was certainly a lot better than the first one. It, along with Mario Kart Tour, gets a 7.5 out of 10. The characters, carts, and items, besides the golden mushroom and fake item box, are the same as Super Circuit, which literally copied all of those aspects from this game, but it came first in the ranking, so that's why I've talked about it already. This means that those rankings will remain the same, and anything I said about them doesn't need to be repeated. The track selection in this game is really solid. Some highlights are Calamari Desert, Toad's Turnpike, not the remake by the way, Royal Raceway, and Bowser's Castle. When it comes to controlling, it's an improvement over Super Mario Kart, however the whole skid thing brings it down. What makes this game rise above the others is its battle mode. You have great items, great courses, and the bomb for some extra chaos. For extra, I gave it an 8. The little touches are what makes this game pretty good, and the upgrade in visuals is quite nice. The best way to describe Mario Kart 64 is it's Mario Kart at its core. Anyways, now it's time to get into the heavy hitters. At number 6, I have Mario Kart 7, released in 2011 for the 3DS. Gosh, almost 12 years ago. Anyways, instead of commenting about how Mario Kart 7 is underrated, which if I had a nickel for every time, comment about which games you would put under Mario Kart 7. Getting back into the ranking here, Mario Kart 7 is a pretty good Mario Kart game, and you could take it on the go for an added bonus. The one thing that I will be mainly knocking this game for is the character roster, and if you've watched my content before, you probably knew this was coming. The scrapped characters all happen to be some of my favorites in the series, besides the baby characters, and I'm not pleased with the new additions. To stir the pot even more, my favorite of the new characters is Metal Mario if we don't count Shy Guy. The vehicles are kind of cool, I guess, but I've never been that blown away by the customization. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's lighten the mood and talk about the track selection. This game has the best track selection in the series overall. You have greats like Shy Guy Bazaar, Music Park, the Woohoo Island tracks, and who could forget Rainbow Road. This game has a fantastic retro track selection with returning greats like Coconut Mall, Waluigi Pinball, Maple Treeway, and Airship Fortress to name a few. For items, it does an okay job with the standard ones, plus the Fire Flower, Super Leaf, and Lucky 7. Additions that aren't groundbreaking, but not bad either. For the extra category, it has the gliding and underwater mechanics, which were the main selling point of the game. However, the lack of a versus mode docks it down a few points in this category. Mario Kart 7 is a great Mario Kart, however, in my opinion, it doesn't compete with the others on this list. Mario Kart 8 is, in my opinion, a better version of Mario Kart 7, which is why I have it just above its predecessor. Believe it or not, Mario Kart 8 is still the newest Mario Kart engine if we don't include Mario Kart Tour, which is crazy, because this game is literally 9 years old. The character roster is pretty good for this game if we include DLC, which I am including. There are more bad characters, but we finally brought back some good ones, and some characters from other franchises as well. The track selection is also pretty cool, with some of the better ones being Sunshine Airport, Mount Wario, Wild Woods, Newt City, and Big Blue, with some really good retros as well with Tick-Tock Clock, N64 Rainbow Road, and Ribbon Road. In terms of items, you now have the Super Horn to destroy the blue shell, but you brought back the coin as well. Besides that, there aren't that many game-breaking items. This game controls very well, and that's what makes this game loved among fans. However, the battle mode isn't great. You can only play on modified racetracks, and it's pretty basic. But as someone who doesn't care too much for battle mode, this doesn't bother me too much. The gimmick this time around is anti-gravity, and while this can be really fun and looks cool, it doesn't change anything up really. Anyways, Mario Kart 8 is a version of Mario Kart that controls smoothly and works great overall. I have seen Mario Kart DS thrown all over the place on lists, including my own, but I have found a spot for it at number 4. Previously, this was number 2 on the list, however, if I look past my nostalgia for the game, I can see 3 games that beat out DS. This game has a pretty good selection of characters, with Daisy and Waluigi returning from the latest game, plus the additions of Dry Bones and Rob. Mario Kart DS has something that only one other game in the series has besides Tour, which are character-specific vehicles. This is really cool because you can drive as Luigi in the Poltergust, fast, race as Donkey Kong and the Rambi Rider, or destroy the competition as Dry Bones in a freaking tank. For tracks, you have some really good ones like Luigi's Mansion, Delfino Square, Waluigi Pinball, Tick-Tock Clock, Airship Fortress, and Peach Gardens. However, there are some stinkers thrown in on top of the atrocious retro track selection. For items, you have the great new item in the Bullet Bill, but also have the bloopers, so those kind of offset each other. This game has great controlling though, with drifting feeling pretty good. When it comes to battle mode though, I don't know what it is about it, but DS has my favorite battle mode in the series. The courses were so cool, with the retro maps being great as well. DS was like the one game I actually put a chunk of time into battle mode in. And that brings us to Extra, where I will be adding mission mode, one of the best things that Mario Kart has to offer. You have a bunch of missions where you complete a task before time runs out. Then after each level, you fight a boss, which was and still is super cool. Despite Mario Kart DS looking absolutely awful, it does make for a fantastic experience. Mario Kart Double Dash, released for the Gamecube in 2003, claims the number 3 spot and overtakes Mario Kart DS on my list. This game is just so different from the others, but in a good way. If we're talking about the transition from the characters and vehicles in Super Circuit to Double Dash, then upgrade is an understatement. 8 characters to 20 characters, and 1 kart to 21 karts that you can choose from. The track selection in this game is also fire, with it consistently being good throughout the game. Some of my favorites are Baby Park, Mushroom Bridge and City, Waluigi Stadium, DK Mountain, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road. For items, how could I not give it a 10? From having big ol' bananas at your disposal, to being yanked throughout the course from the end of a chain chomp, the items in this game are peak. Now the one thing that I have against this game is the controlling. I'm sorry, but it is way too sensitive and bouncy for my liking, so I lowered it for that. The battle stages in this game are quite solid, especially Pipe Plaza. I always thought that one was super cool. For Extra, it's double the fun, so it gets a good rating in that category. Mario Kart Double Dash provides you with an incredible Mario Kart experience that you just can't find anywhere else. And at the number 2 spot, I have Mario Kart Wii. This was a really hard one because in some cases, this game is the best, and I will have friends over to play Mario Kart Wii over the number 1 pick on this list. I'm not gonna waste time about my love for the game since I've probably done that in so many other videos at this point, but it has been dethroned as my best Mario Kart. For the character roster, it's just perfect. We have the Double Dash roster minus Petey Piranha, with the additions of the Mii, Rosalina, and Dry Bowser, my favorite character in the series. And also Funky Kong is there as well. This legendary roster comes with my favorite vehicle selection as well. A lot of people like the customization method better, but I think that these vehicles are so cool that we didn't even need customization anyways. For the track selection, it's a 9. The only point lost here is for the retros being a bit underwhelming. The best of the nitros include Mushroom Gorge, Toad's Factory, Coconut Mall, DK Summit, Koopa Cave, Maple Treeway, Grumble Volcano, Dry Ruins, Moonview Highway, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road. Gosh, I think I literally just named every nitro track. And for the retros, we have a few fan favorites like Delfino Square, Waluigi Stadium, Bowser's Castle 3, Peach Gardens, DK Mountain, and N64 Bowser's Castle to end the whole thing off. When it comes to items, you lose a point for no special items, and you lose a point for the Thundercloud. On the controlling side, I love the many ways that you can control the game as well as the drifting. The only part of it that kinda sucks are the physics, but it certainly isn't a deal breaker. The battle mode is also a downgrade from the DS version, and is agreed upon as one of the worst battle modes in the series. The courses kinda suck as well, besides having the best one in the series. And that's all I have to say about Mario Kart Wii for now, so let's head to number 1 on my top 10 Mario Karts of all time.
Luigi Kart A!
And at number 1, I have the newest console Mario Kart, which came out in 2017, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know why we haven't gotten a new Mario Kart in almost 10 years? Because this is the best Mario Kart game of all time. But what makes this game the best of them all is the Booster Course Pass, delivering new tracks and characters to the game. Assuming that the last 2 characters of the Booster Course Pass are Funky and Diddy Kong, the character selection gets a 10 out of 10. The vehicle selection is okay in this game, with you being able to customize your vehicle like in Mario Kart 7. Moving on to tracks, this game gets a 10 of course. You have soon to be 96 mostly high quality tracks that you can play anytime you want to. My favorites from the Booster Course Pass so far are Yoshi's Island and Squeaky Clean Sprint for the Nitros, along with Mushroom Gorge, Maple Treeway, 3DS Rainbow Road, DK Summit, and Vancouver Velocity for the retros. They also added a pretty good battle mode to the mix, which redeems that category. Anyways, that's all for this video. If you haven't already, please check out my top 10 Mario platformer games, because a lot went into that video and it's one of my best videos. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one.